Hello, hello, and welcome. Thank you for your patience. As you can imagine, today's story is really pivotal in the changing of the tide of the United States. And I just want to say that it did take me some time to pull a lot of this together. As you'll notice, I did change the time at least twice and then still didn't make it on time because of how pressing this is. I really don't know where to start, you guys. So I think what we'll do is we'll just start. I'm just going to pick one of the pieces that I had to pull together today, and we'll all work it out together. And I thank you in advance for your um, patience with this. Let me start by saying what's going on right now in the United States is all connected. And I know that with the brilliance of those who are here, you'll agree every single bit of this is connected. There is not one piece that's happened in the United States recently that has nothing to do with the other one. Does that make sense? Every single thing that we're looking at right now has something to do with another piece, even down to the P. Diddy piece. And then biblically, I'm going to show you that. We're going to use some biblical text today. It's almost impossible for us not to. And here's why I would not be doing you any justice if I did not show you the connected dots. Now, you do with it what you choose, you accept it or not, but you just cannot deny the correlation. And we're not looking at anything in Revelation or anything creepy like that at all. We're just going to look at how each and every one of the pieces of what we're about to read today and look over together today, even down to the man who owns the ship that ran into the bridge. This is very important because what it tells us significantly is it symbolizes the real life metaphor of the United States and its collapse. That's exactly what we're looking at right now. Each thing interconnected to one another. Every piece that we've seen from the immigrants coming over from Venezuela and have overrun New York to those same type of people that are overrunning Chicago and Los Angeles. Every single piece that we're going to look at today is climactic, but definitely not the end, but it is climactic in the scheme of things with destroying the very infrastructure of this nation. The names are significant. The coordinates are significant. If you are on the headlines for the Voice channel, you'll see that the thumbnail outlined the coordinates of this very place. Every single piece must be noticed. And then after we notice that, we've got to decide what we're going to do with that information on a personal level, right? Because it's not enough for us to go from one live to the next live to the next live and see what everybody has to say on their channel and then do absolutely nothing, which is what I know a lot of you guys are not down for, right? You guys have family and friends and members of your family that you said things to and they wasn't down for it. And all of a sudden, to their downfall, here it comes after you've warned them. So let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. First of all, Francis Scott Key. Francis Scott Key, as we already know, is the man who wrote the Star Spangled, the national anthem. Okay, he wrote the national anthem. He was born on August 1st, 1779, in Frederick County, Maryland, United States. Now, here's the thing: his family emigrated here from England, as most of those folks back in that time did. What this is telling us is all of that is old and gone, and they are destroying the very infrastructure of what then was built. As you know, this particular bridge was built specifically over that body of water because at that time there was only one way to get in or out of there, and they could only get one ship in or out. So they built this. Few important pieces I want you guys to take notes on from an educational standpoint. That's where we're coming from with this video, because today we will be using a lot of information that does not belong to the Felicia Lockhart Group LLC. I want to put that out there right now. We are letting you know right now that this is covered under the Copyright Act of 1976. Why? Because we will be using this information for educational purposes. We will be using this information today because I got to share this with you guys. So they took a video of mine down that was put up 2 years ago, and it was called "What is Patriotism?" They took that down. So I've got to let you know that every single thing you're about to see here is used under the guise of fair use for the purposes that are illustrated in 107 of the 1976 Fair Use Act. Okay. So going back, the significance of the names. The first thing I want to point out to you, besides Mr. Francis Scott Key, it goes all the way down to the money, baby. This whole thing goes all the way down to the money. I want to show you guys this story, and I want you to read along with me. In 2023, there was an interstate that was hit, and it was very significant because people were not able to get through for weeks and weeks. And originally, what they said after this happened was, we don't know when it's going to be able to get through. And so, what happened, to my own knowledge, is that people in that area began to say, hey, yo, wait a minute. No, they began to blast this thing on the internet. They began to blast it on Twitter, well, now X. And they began to say, there's no way you're going to hold us up like this. We cannot get in or out. There's another piece, and I'm gonna dance, you guys. I gotta dance around because it's just like all this information hit me at once this morning. Memories of things that I had, stories that I was already working on, pieces that I was already putting together and kept scratching my head, not knowing where they come. And here goes the culmination. The 2023 Interstate 95 highway collapse. If you guys remember hearing that, please let me know. Okay? Please let me know. The interstate collapse on June 11th. I need you all who have the ears to hear and the heart to know, please focus in on the times, the dates, the numbers, and everything, because I want to show you sometimes things that look like an accident, baby, don't you know, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it ain't. I'm here to tell you that. So as we look at this, we see that there was this incident on June 11, 2023. A tanker truck carrying gasoline lost control while it was attempting to exit the highway and caught fire under the overpass carrying Interstate 95, I-95 at the Pennsylvania Route 73, PA 73 Cotman Avenue, the interchange into Coney neighborhood of the Northeast Philadelphia. The extreme heat caused the northbound lanes to collapse and damage the southbound lanes, resulting in a roughly 9 or 14-kilometer closure of both directions on I-95 between Betsy Ross. There are no accidents. Remember the focus, the collapsing of the infrastructure of the U.S. That's where we're headed. So everything I'm talking about is going to head there. And we're going to dance around again. It's not going to just be fluid and then we're going to match this. No, we're going. So it was between Armingo Avenue and PA 63, Woodhaven Road, exit 63. After emergency construction of a temporary roadway, traffic resumed June 23rd, less than 2 weeks after the fire. But prior to that, what this is not saying is that they were telling everybody, oh, it could be done. It could be down for a long time. Oh, we don't know how long it's going to be. Oh, it'll be a good amount of time before it's back up and running. And we just don't know. And it's just going to take some. Them folks got on Twitter. Those people started to complain. They started to blast. Hey, how are we getting to work? How are we getting our goods? How are our things coming in or out? Well, you can't just leave us like this. Some of us are stranded. What's up? So a similar incident was seen in 2007 where a large fire caused the collapse of a connector in the MacArthur Maze in Oakland, California. MacArthur Maze. Look at the names. And in 2017, a large fire collapsed on the overpass that was a part of I-85 in Atlanta, Georgia. I remember that specifically. I was still living in Atlanta or in a suburb of Atlanta at the exact same time that this happened. And they said it was a homeless man who had caught like some tires or something on fire or a chair, something he was sitting on. But it took a whole bridge full of rebar, all types of concrete that was made by engineers who knew how to create things to withstand heat. This one homeless man who later went to jail for it and was let out after he was, represented by a very famous lawyer, he was able to take the whole entire overpass down there in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, it's important to note, and I'm glad I've told people this, because in 2014, I got a vision while on a highway that the way that they were going to begin to take this country down, and I'm saying it because I've said it to people and I have witnesses. I said I saw a vision, and the vision that I saw was they were going to take us down by transportation, by hitting bridges with trucks. I saw it. I said trucks transportation, the highways. I said, that's how they're going to do it. And some people listened, and it went over their head. Others remember it to a T. This is that. Now, I'm going to close this out. And you know what, you guys, these notes are going to be heckified if you guys want to carry them on. Let me go ahead and put this on a sticky note now so that I have that for you. Copy it and put it over here, because at the end of the show, sometimes I'm not even to remember unless I go through my history of what it was that we were covering. So let me go ahead and put this here, create a new note right there. All right. So that at least that way we have it. All right. So we got that one. I have to collapse this because I have too many tabs open. And thank you guys for being with us today. Thank you so very much. There's also a video that I want to show you guys that I put together today, and I want you to look at very closely at how the bridge went down, which I'm sure some of you have already done that, how it went down, and who owned that particular ship. That's important. Everything's important. All right, so hold on. Okay. Let me go here to live and get you guys up and running here. Thank you for your patience with my silence. I remember my days of radio, they used to say that silence was death to the disc jockey. And they was right. And it's the same thing with this. All right, so we got that done. Now let me go over to the other channel and do that too. So you guys have everything at the same time. I want everything to be in succinct. Hey, thank you guys for watching that Houdini video the other day. For those who understand, you knew what I meant. There's a purpose when I do some stories, and sometimes you don't see me here because not every story is worth jumping on, to include what I was about to do this morning, which was about Mr. P. Diddy himself. The P. Diddy story is a distraction, but it is a necessary thing. It is something very necessary, but it's definitely a distraction. Why do you say that, Felicia? I say that because if you really want to look at it and you really want to understand what's up, you would not be paying attention to this if this was all, if listening to hip hop was all you was into. If all you was into was hip hop, you wouldn't be tripping at all on this. And a lot of people aren't. They're like, oh, gee whiz, that's so terrible. This happened. All right. All right, let me get out of this because I need to get out of here. I'm in the studio. I need to get out of that. Here we go. Do you guys understand that this has everything to do with the money? Let me get in here. My mind is moving, y'all, and I apologize, but I don't know. Let me give you this story right here. We're going to look at this piece. We're going to look at the actual cargo ship itself. So we're going to read what we already know. A container ship lost power and rammed into a major bridge in Baltimore early Tuesday, causing the span to buckle into the river below and plunging a construction crew and several vehicles into the dangerously cold waters. Rescuers pulled out 2 people, but 2 times 6. But 6 others were missing. The ship's crew issued a mayday call moments before the crash took down the Francis Scott Key Bridge, enabling authorities to limit vehicle traffic on the span, Maryland's governor said. The ship struck one of the bridge's supports, causing the structure to collapse like a toy. It tumbled into the water in a matter of seconds, a shocking spectacle that was captured on video and posted on social media. The vessels caught fire, and thick black smoke billowed out of it. Listen closely to what I'm saying. With the ship barreling toward the bridge at a very, very rapid speed, authorities had just enough time to stop cars from coming over the bridge, the Maryland governor said. These people are heroes. They saved lives last night. The crash happened long before the busy morning commute on the bridge, which stretches 2.6 kilometers. The 6 people still unaccounted for were part of a construction crew filling potholes on the bridge, said Paul Whitefield, the state's transportation secretary, and one of those rescued was taken to the hospital. Quote, never would you think that you would physically see the Key Bridge tumble like that. It looked like something out of an action movie, he said. An unthinkable tragedy is what he called it. The collapse is almost sure to create a logistical nightmare for months, if not years, along the East Coast, shutting down ship traffic at the Port of Baltimore and snarling cargo and commuter traffic. Here's what Senator Johnny Ray Salling said. Losing this bridge will devastate the entire area as well as the entire East Coast. Highway signs as far as Virginia warn drivers of the delays associated with the closure of the bridge. Authorities said sonar had detected vehicles in the water, which is about 50 feet or 15 meters deep. The water temperature was 47 degrees Fahrenheit, 8 degrees Celsius, before dawn on Tuesday, according to a buoy that collects data for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Earlier, Kevin Cartwright, the director of communications for the Baltimore fire, told the Associated Press that several vehicles were on the bridge at the time of the collapse, including one the size of a tractor trailer truck. The bridge came down in the middle of the night when traffic would be lighter than during the day when thousands of cars whew, traverse the span. Energy Marine Group, Synergy, Synergy Marine Group, which manages the ship called the Dali, confirmed the vessel hit a pillar of the bridge at about 1:30 a.m. while in control of one or more pilots who are local specialists who navigate the vessels safely into ports. The ship is owned by Grace Ocean Private Ltd. But look at what I saw. Oh, well, no, let me finish this. Then I want to show you some conflicting stories about that. Okay, now it said that all crew members, including the two pilots on board, were accounted for, and there were no reports of any injuries, so that's a good thing. The ship was moving at 8 knots, roughly 9 miles an hour, or 14.8 kph, kilometers per hour, the governor said. As the sun rose on Tuesday, as the sun rose on Tuesday, jagged remnants of the bridge could be seen jutting up from the water surface. The on ramp abruptly where the span once began. Cartwright said that some cargo appeared to be dangling from the bridge, which spans the Patasco River at the entrance to a busy harbor. The river leads to the port of Baltimore, a major hub for shipping on the East Coast, opened in 1977. The bridge is named for the writer of the Star Spangled Banner. We all know that. Maryland Transportation Secretary Paul Wyfield said the vessel traffic into and out of the port would be suspended until further notice, though the facility was still open to trucks. The governor declared a state of emergency and said he was working to get federal resources deployed. The FBI is on the scene, but said there was no credible information to suggest terrorism. President Joe Biden was briefed, but at the time that I put this up, or let you guys know that we would be going live, I had not seen him say anything about it. I apologize if he said something thus far. Somebody in the chat let me know. I'm not on that side to see your comments. But if you do know that he said something, let me know. Because at the time that I put this up, he hadn't said a word, not one peep. Now, the Dolly was headed from Baltimore to Colombia, Sri Lanka, and flying under a Singapore flag, according to data from the marine traffic. The container ship is about 300 meters or 985 feet long, with about 157 feet or 48 meters wide, according to the website. Now, Danish shipping giant Maersk said that it had chartered the vessel. No Maersk crew and personnel were on board, however. The collapse caused Maersk's share at the NASDAQ Copenhagen to plummet 2% in early Tuesday trading. Last year, the Port of Baltimore recorded a 52.3 million tons of foreign cargo worth $80 billion, according to the state. In addition to cargo, more than 444,000 passengers cruised out of the port in 2023. Now, the story has been corrected to show that Grace Ocean Pacific owns the ship, not Synergy Marine Group. But that's not what I saw. What I have here is not them. Let me, because I got 1,000 tabs. I wish I could show you guys. And you can't rename them. If you guys let me know if you can rename these tabs once you put them up, because I wish I knew how to do it if you could. Here's the guy that owns it. This is Captain Rajesh Uni. According to what I was able to find this morning, is the person who owns it. That's who owns it, according to what I was able to find. Now let me give this to you. Because when I put in, listen, when I put in who owns it, I didn't get this other company. When I put in who owns it, it was this dude. All right. And today is 2024. That's what it said today, 2024, that this man is who owned it. Here you go. Let me show you who he is. And I love the rain. We've had rain all night long, although it is sort of concerning. Okay. Here you go. This is the dude they say owns it. Originally today, because I asked who owned the ship, it said Synergy Group. Then I said, who are the major players? Who is the head of it? It was this company, Synergy Group. So I'm going to read the information that I have. And if there are any corrections that need to be made, count it to my head, not my heart. Because there's another company they say owns it. But this is what it showed this morning. Profile of the gentleman, Captain Rajesh Uni, the founder and CEO of Synergy Group. Uni's holistic approach to ship management makes Synergy unique. Tell us about your background and education? Well, I hail from the southern state of India. My father was a government employee and my mother stayed at home parent. Like many Indians before the globalization period, we belonged to the middle class. My younger brother and I never lacked necessities, but we were not raised affluent. Today, I run a successful company, but I've never forgotten my roots and continue to remain grateful for my value-based upbringing. Now, what attracted you to maritime history? Necessity. The financial situation in my house was not improving. Being the eldest, I felt duty bound to help my family and decided to start working immediately. In those days, the merchant navy was a lucrative profession. So after finishing school, I went to sea as a cadet with Univan Ship Management, a Hong Kong-based ship management company. While working, I earned my industry certifications from LBS College of Advanced Maritime Studies and Research in Mumbai. From cadet to the third officer, second officer, and chief officer, I attained the rank of master in 1999 at the age of 26. I never imagined back then that I would end up spending most of my life in the maritime industry. Our industry is tough, but built on strong people bonds. Seafarers often share a special camaraderie, and the friendships you forge remain for a long time. I've been lucky to meet my mates through this profession. What inspired you to found Synergy? I've spent more than a decade in the ship management industry, and I found that despite high productivity level costs, the level of service was subpar. It was still subpar. The only way ahead was to continue to accept the norm or take a leap of faith and challenge the status quo. Along with a few like minded friends and the support of my mentor, Captain Kutsaya Abe, president of Nissan Quinn, a 120-year-old family run Japanese shipping company, and others, we decided to take the lead and set up the world class comprehensive technical ship management service based on openness, trust, and reliability. That philosophy was incorporated as Synergy Chennai, India in 2006. So now the name Synergy, when we're going to find out what it's about as far as this company is concerned. For us, it's always been about team and never about the individual. The sum of the knowledge capital and the talent is always greater than the individuals working independently. Synergy seemed the apt name for a company that believes in the collective efforts. Here's the deal. All of that Asia, all of that area, all of those areas are a part of the IMEUC. Yeah. So it's dealing with all the Indian, all of the Asian maritime, all of that. Remember the story that we covered in September that was dealing with the maritime corridor that was going to be coming through from Israel, coming straight in through to Asia? Here is my belief. My belief is all that we are seeing right now that's coming to the collapse of ships running into the this right here, what we're seeing here, and trucks running into certain things that are corridors, not to mention the fact that this particular bridge just got a boatload of money in the infrastructure plan that we just saw last Friday. A boatload of money, which is a good thing, right? Right on time. I mean, not saying that there's anything going on. I'm just saying that, hey, they'll be able to use those funds eventually, right? To help them to further this. All of this stuff is meant to change the entire land, the entire area, all of it. Here's my philosophy on this whole thing. This is my thought process. My thought process is you have now a need to no longer use certain waterways to bring in ships, to bring in anything that's going to be used here in the United States. This particular ship hitting this particular bridge is going to slow us down for ages. There are people who stand to make money from this. Lots of people. And there are companies as well as small businesses in that local area that will shut down undoubtedly because they're using the traffic that comes across to keep them afloat. Well, if the middleman is no longer there, which is usually middle America that has small businesses, those can go away. They don't care. There are large areas and large companies, I should say, that will stand to gain, from construction companies to metal companies to everything. Now we'd have to look into see to follow the money. To be fair and follow the money, we would have to know each and every one of those companies that are going to gain financially, unfortunately, because of this. We got to keep our minds in the right place, and that is to follow the money. So now we see who he is. All right, this is him. Let me make it a little bigger. Do you guys not understand that there is some significance to certain individuals always being at the helm of everything financial here in the United States lately? I hope we are getting this. The United States is done. Now the new cats are actually putting in place what they want right in front of us. Right in front of us, even down to New York playing a huge role into this. Listen, just recently, we see that individuals that are in New York are ravaging it. They're ravaging it. They're pillaging. They're taking over homes. They're taking people's houses, squatting in them, and then the people who own the house get arrested. All of this is connected. All of New York, some parts, especially the areas that there were, Hispanics, lower median income whites and blacks in those areas. Those areas are the places that are being overrun by these illegal aliens. Keeping that in mind, you'd have to ask yourself, why is this being allowed to happen? And why are they funding it so greatly? They're funding it because of the purpose of clearing out that area for it to be at the end of this maritime corridor that's coming from Israel. This is my idea. This is what I'm saying. Nobody told me this. But wouldn't it stand to reason that the only way for us to have any idea of Babylon falling is if it had some great maritime financial gain? Think about it. All of New York, the specific areas we're talking about, is being ravaged. So what's going to happen? More and more people are going to jump ship and run out. They're all going to leave. And when they leave, because they can't even build any new houses, that's okay. Just bulldoze them down. And this whole entire area is going to look just like Tyre in the Bible. This whole entire area is going to be exactly like Corinth, a port city. And what was going on in the port cities? There was worshiping of all of their different gods. There was money being exchanged. There were financial things that were happening from one side to the other. They were bringing things from afar off all the way in. This was a very corrupt area. Any port city is always going to have corruption. You look at the history, it's going to have corruption. They're clearing this area out so that they can put it all together. Now, in 40 years when I'm not here, If one of your grandbabies is here, maybe they'll remember this. Maybe you could share it with somebody else. But I guarantee you this is strategic in the plan that the United States, that is in agreement with this particular maritime corridor, with Netanyahu, is all a part of the same thing. Let me come over to this side for a second so that I can see where we're going here. We've got more information that I want to show you guys. First of all, let me greet all of you. I see a lot of you here. Let's take a break. We've been at it for 30 minutes. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to look at the barbecue video. And after we look at the barbecue video, we're going to come right back, okay? So let's take a quick break. First of all, I want you to see this, because this is what I have here. Let me remove this. Did anybody see the movie Leave the World Behind? Did anybody see the movie Leave the World Behind? Because if you did, this movie is playing out what we're seeing right here in part. Not all, but in part. All right, so let me add this to the stage. Let me take him off, and let me give this to you guys so you can see the commercial, and then after that, I'll show you the other.
Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do, because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore, because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me